Oh, hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here today at the Schmidt house. I'm Ada Hoffman. I grew up in this house, and I've come here today to make some gingerbread cookies. There's going to be a church social this evening. I think I'm going to see Mrs. Taylor there, and I want to make sure that I have some cookies to share with her. It's a dark, rainy day today, a good day to make cookies. To start off making our cookies, we will need 1 cup of lard, or shortening if you have it, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of molasses, 1 egg, and 2 teaspoons of vinegar. Then we will add 5 cups of flour, 2.5 teaspoons of baking soda, and our spices. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of cloves, and 2 teaspoons of ginger. To start off making our cookies, we will need 1 cup of shortening. We'll put it into our bowl. It likes to stick, so we'll probably have to do a little bit of digging. Next, you're going to take 1 cup of sugar. Pour it in. Now we have to blend the shortening and the sugar together. If you don't do that, you're going to end up with lumps of shortening in your cookies, and nobody wants that. Now we need to stir this up really well. This is stirred together quite nicely, no shortening lumps. We'll add the other wet ingredients next. Now we'll add 1 cup of molasses. And I'm going to use my knife to get all that good molasses into the bowl. And now I need to stir it up really well. Once again, you want the molasses, the sugar, and the shortening to be one nice, smooth lump. And now we will add 1 egg. We'll crack the egg on the side of the bowl, split it open, pour it in. If you drop your eggshell in your batter, and there's a little piece left there, don't try to pick it out with your fingers. Use the eggshell itself. That way you'll get it all out at once. You won't have any crunchy bits in your cookies. And then we'll stir that egg in. Again, we want a nice, even consistency with the ingredients that we have in the bowl so far. There we have it. Now we're going to add the last wet ingredient, and that is 2 tablespoons of vinegar. I'm using white vinegar, but I don't know as it matters what kind of vinegar that you use. Then we're going to stir that vinegar into your dough. We're going to give this a very good stir. We have a nice, smooth consistency now. And now it's time for our dry ingredients. We'll start with 5 cups of flour. I generally don't add all the flour in at once, just in case I have made a few adjustments in my measurements with the wet ingredients. So I'm going to start out with 4 cups of flour. And 4. You always want to pour your flour into your measuring cup. Don't dip your measuring cup into your flour. It packs the flour down, and that will alter the measurements. All right, so now we need our spices. It is 2 teaspoons of ginger, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of cloves in here. We'll pour it in. And I need to add the baking soda, which is going to react with the vinegar and give us nice high gingerbread cookies. So I am going to add 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. I like to get as many of the lumps out of my baking soda before I measure it out on my spoon. So there is 1 teaspoon and 1/2 teaspoon. And now we're going to stir it all up for the last time. It's going to be really important that you scrape the sides of the bowl as you go. You need a little bit of muscle once the flour gets worked in, because this is a stiff dough that we're going to be rolling out so that we can cut our shapes. And I am very glad that I did not add that last cup of flour, because my gingerbread dough is looking just right. I'm going to use my hand now to help form it into a ball. And then normally I would set it in the root cellar for a while to chill, but we won't have to do that today as it's quite cool outside with the rain. So it's time for us to roll out our cookie dough now. First, I need to sprinkle some flour on my rolling cloth. Now we'll pick up about 1/3 of our dough, a little more here, and form it into a somewhat flat oval. And now we'll lay it on the flour on our rolling board. Then I'm going to roll it out to about 1/4 of an inch with my rolling pin. Sprinkle a little bit of flour on top, which I'll probably have to repeat a few times because this dough can get sticky, what with all of the molasses in it. That looks about right. We're going to use a round cookie cutter to cut out our cookies. I'm going to get them as close together as I can. One more right here. All right. And now I will take my pan that I'm going to bake them on. This has been greased, and I'm going to lay them about 1/2 inch apart because they are going to spread out a little bit. I've got my 4 cookies. And now we're ready to go in the oven. Now your oven might have a temperature gauge on it. Mine does not. If you have a temperature gauge, you're going to want to cook these at about 375 degrees. I know that my oven is at least that hot because I started the fire hours ago. So we'll put it in, and we're going to bake those for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then I'll check on them. So don't forget that you can re-roll those scraps. We'll pick them up, shake off any of the excess flour, and form it into a ball again. Flatten it out. We're not going to need as much flour on the board this time. Roll it out, and we can make more cookies. I think our last pan of cookies are done. Let's check them and see. Yes, they are brown around the edges. You can touch them in the center and they're firm. They do need to sit and cool for a while. They need to cool until you can stand to touch them. Then you can take them off the pan and cool them either on a cloth or on a plate. Here are the cookies that have already cooled, ready to go to the social tonight. You can ice these gingerbread cookies if you want, but these are sweet enough just the way they are. So I'll be taking them to the social later tonight. I certainly hope that Miss Taylor is going to like them.